Hello, welcome to another episode of 55 Plus No Limits. My name is David Quiroa. I am the Assistant Director here at the Cranston Department of Senior Services, better known as the Cranston Enrichment Center. Today we have a phenomenal interview with some of our interns that have helped in our unit that is called the Adult Day Services, which is a section, a division of the Senior Center where we have individuals that have some afflictions that need extra care, such as dementia in particular. And these young folks I have here to my right, I have Scarlett Bradfield. Hi, how you doing?
I'm good.
They're doing good. And then I also have Mr. Brady Hodge.
Hello.
How you doing?
Good, how are you?
Good, good. And finally, we have Grace Donovan, who's also here with us. Thank you for being here. How you doing?
Good, how are you?
Good, good. So why don't we start with Scarlett? Can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Okay, my name is Scarlett, and I'm 15 years old, and I attend St. Raphael Academy, and I play soccer.
Very good, soccer, huh?
Yeah.
There's great news about soccer now, right? FIFA has designated Boston to be one of the cities to host the next World Cup. Mm-hmm. So I'm sure you're
fun.
excited about
yes,
that, right?
I want to go.
Very good, very good. Brady.
I'm 16 years old. I go to Cranston West. I'm in the Information Technology VOTech there. And yeah.
Yeah, information technology. Yeah, what are you doing in information technology like?
Well, so far we've only done Word and the basics of hardware.
Okay.
I have both certifications for that. And in junior year, it's going to be a full year course, and we're going to start doing networking and wiring.
Oh,
I'm excited for that.
Yeah, that's exciting. Yeah. And finally, we have Grace. You want to introduce yourself? How you doing?
Good, how are you?
Yeah.
I'm Grace Dowden. I'm 24. I work at East Greenwich Pediatrics down the road, and I graduated in 2019 from the University of Alabama at Birmingham with a degree in biology. And after that, and during school, I also volunteered here, as well as after I graduated and lived here. So, yeah.
So why don't we keep going with you, Grace? When did you volunteer here?
I volunteered here during 2018 and 2019, and then a little bit in 2020 before COVID hit, and a little bit after as well. So.
Okay. So can you tell me what was your experience working in the Adult Day Services unit?
Usually I would help out with the daily activities, like if they were doing an exercise class, I would help to run that. I would help play games with like bingo and stuff with the clients, and I would help during the meal times with handing out food and things like that. And it was a great experience. I had a really good time and met a lot of great people.
Yeah. Without saying the particular names of the individuals for obvious reasons, can you tell me like a little story about some of the interactions you had with some of these folks? Because I mean, when I've been in there, I can tell you that I have met folks that were incredible lawyers when they were working, architects, doctors, and it's kind of sad to see how they have diminished, cognitively in their ability to really do their day-to-day activities once they have, for example, dementia or Alzheimer's. It's really sad to see how someone who was bright and successful now needs all that extra help. But nevertheless, there's still a person in there, and they still have their personalities that are with them. Can you tell me a little bit about, from your point of view, maybe an experience you had with some of them?
Yeah, sure. So there was one client who really liked me, and like whenever there was a meal time, I would wipe down her silverware for her because she always said that they didn't clean it right.
Yeah.
So I would always make sure to wipe down her silverware and help her cut up her steak because she had one hand that was a little weaker. And then I would chat with her while doing it, and she was great. So she was really, really funny and just witty. And there was another client who I would talk to about Alabama. I guess he used to live there, so we would talk about that. And I mean, he had dementia, so he would repeat a lot of the same things, but it was still great to hear, and he would say some different stories sometimes, and it was really interesting to hear his perspective and what it was like living there. So
That's great. Scarlett.
Hi.
Hi. So when did you volunteer in the Adult Day Services unit?
I volunteered here about I would say 2 months ago, something around
Okay.
that. and I did it for 2 days, I think. I didn't do them in a row. I think I did one like Monday and Wednesday. And I ended up doing 12 hours because I had to do hours for my community service at school because they require a certain amount of hours once you graduate so you can put it on your college application.
Okay.
But honestly, like, I didn't really think about getting like hours and have it like be a school thing. It was just like kind of like a bonding moment and kind of like a realization moment that I'm gonna be able to like have a job soon, and I can like, this can be part of my job. Like, I can work with older people or people that have dementia, and it was like a good learning experience for me, like becoming like an adult, sort of.
Yeah.
You know.
Very good. Do you remember any of the individuals in there, perhaps, that you were able to connect?
Yes, there was this one client, and they were just so nice to me. She was like, she would tell me I look beautiful all the time, and she was so nice. And like I said, I have a torn ACL, so I had like a brace on, and she would always ask me if I'm okay, and I shouldn't be walking around, and it's too young to have an injury and all that. But she would tell me like lots about her life in the past and her husband. And then there was a different client, and he was a veterinarian, and he would tell me, oh, if you ever have a horse, you have to do this and that, and it was
Very nice.
it was really cute.
Yeah. Brady.
Hi.
Hi. When did you volunteer in the Adult Day Services unit?
Probably a week before Scarlett did.
Okay. Okay.
I did one, but by myself, like before I met her, and then two with her.
Okay.
But I remember the clients she's talking about. They were great fun to hang out around, help. It was just a blast, and honestly, I probably would do it again, just not even for school.
Yeah. See, I don't know if you folks follow the news at all, but recently there was a big major report that there's basically a crisis in Rhode Island, especially with nursing homes and assisted living facilities, where the whole system may actually collapse.
Really?
If it's not funded properly, correct. So now that you folks know and seeing, the vitality in some of these individuals, because it's very important for these individuals to still keep living with their loved ones in their homes, as opposed to an institution. Because that really is what lets them, keep remembering those memories and reliving their past, and that's what brings them happiness, because the short memory is basically gone, So how do you feel about that? Like, if it's from the perspective of being a social issue, let's say if you had the power, I mean, I know you can vote already, you folks cannot vote yet, right? But if you were supporting anything that had to do with, really advancing or securing funds, or making sure that we had enough facilities to service these folks, what would be your opinion on that social cause, for example? Brady?
Well, I'm not too sure. I obviously do think we should, but I'm not too sure how we should go about it.
Yeah.
Because I do believe, like, there's also a lot of other facilities that need the funding, but if we should definitely direct a good bit of it to funding senior homes and daycares instead of just institutions where they live there all the time.
Okay. Great.
Yeah, I definitely agree, because I think something like the senior daycare is really important to enrich the lives of seniors instead of, not that obviously nursing homes serve their purpose and stuff, and that's really important, but having them alone in a nursing home is a little different than being able to come in and interact with other people who are the same age as them or around the same age, and having those activities that they do, and it's really enriching for them, I think. And when I'm older, that's where I want to go, so that's what I think.
Yeah. Scarlett?
So I would say that something like the senior center is also really good for older people, like besides a nursing home, because again, they're only there for a certain amount of time and then they get to go home or wherever they go, and that's good for their memory. And people like us can like come in and talk with them, and maybe they can like remember something that they couldn't remember before. And it's just more interactive than a nursing home. Obviously, yeah, nursing homes are important if there's nowhere else for them to be, but if like their husband or like their daughter, their son comes and picks them up after, they get so like happy, and it's really nice. And it's not like they're just sitting doing nothing. You know what I'm trying to say? There's so many like activities to keep their minds active, and even they do the physical therapy, and it's like, I feel like it's way better for them just to sit at home or just be in a nursing home.
Yeah. Grace, you mentioned that you help with activities. Can you give us an example of an actual activity that you helped in there with?
Yeah, sure. So some of the activities they do, like they play darts sometimes, like not like
They don't shoot at each other,
not
right?
a pointy dart. Yeah, yeah. We make sure. So usually I would hold the dartboard, and they would have like a little like Velcro dart,
Yeah,
and they would throw it at the dartboard that I'd be holding, and we go around and let everyone throw and stuff. So. Stuff like that helps with hand-eye coordination, and people can they can get a little competitive, which can be good. You know,
very nice.
gets everyone going. You know, so sometimes they make teams and things like that. Same with other things like bingo, which is a great activity because some of the seniors who are really bingo experts, they'll have 4 cards in front of them, and they're just putting all the tiles down, and it's really crazy. But other times then we'll help out with them, if they're not sure where to place their little bingo chip, we can help them place it, and then that helps with their memory and stuff. So activities like that are really helpful, I feel like, and fun.
Yeah. So you're already in the medical field. I mean, you're studying to become a PA, correct?
Yeah.
Physician assistant.
Yep.
So do you think that the experiences that you have had in the adult day services is kind of shaping where you want to be once you graduate, or I don't know, you tell me.
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, this has been a big part of my application that I'm applying now to PA school. A big part of my application was talking about working here, and I got a letter of recommendation from the director of the Senior Day Services, Rosemary, and I've talked a lot about in my supplemental applications how dealing with the clients and stuff, it's been amazing, and getting to see that diversity of how people are with dementia and the different levels of care they require. I work at a pediatrician's office now, so it's kind of the opposite end of the spectrum.
Mm.
So getting to see the other side, what happens when you're older, has really been helpful and pointing me in the direction of wanting to work with older people when I'm a PA. So.
Sure. Brady, tell me, I'm assuming you probably want to go into some type of IT career when you graduate.
Mm-hmm.
But how can you take the experience that you have gained in volunteering or interning here at the Senior Center? How can you transfer some of those skills or some of the stuff that you learned there, for example, in your IT world? How do you think? It doesn't have to be too complicated, but I mean, if any.
If I end up going for a job in the IT world where there's customer service, this opportunity has, because I used to be in a really tight shell. I didn't really like talking to a lot of people. I used to be really introverted. So that's why I took a job at a restaurant to help me talk more, and this opportunity here gave me even more social skills, so it's developed what I didn't really have before.
Very nice, very nice. Now, interacting with the older folks, does that also kind of enrich your experience?
Yeah.
What sort of perception did you have of the older folk before? I know you probably have your grandparents, but just in general, do you think you have a different perspective now?
Before, it was a little confusing because I understand everyone has their own issues, but when they don't happen to you or you don't see them really happen often, it's kind of hard to see how they affect the person. So when you watch how dementia or Alzheimer's affects one of the clients, it really puts in perspective about how dangerous and
Devastating.
devastating it can be.
It is, yeah. Scarlett,
Yeah.
we know you're not shy. So, what are you going to do when you graduate? What kind of field you want to go into?
Okay, I have there's just so many, but my one up there is I want to be a pathologist. Do you know what
Okay.
that is?
Not really. You explain it, please. Educate me.
Okay, so some people may think this is a little bit odd, but you do autopsies
Wow.
or whatever,
Okay.
because I did want to be a surgeon for a really long time, but I just don't trust myself operating on somebody that's
Alive?
alive, Yeah.
Okay.
So
So you want to play
instead-
safe.
Play safe. But it's actually really interesting because if somebody dies of a drug overdose or they were sadly murdered, you can figure out how they died and all that to give the family closure.
Sure.
And I love giving closure than giving bad news. If you're a surgeon
Okay.
and something goes wrong, nothing can go wrong if they're doing an autopsy.
yeah,
You know
yeah.
what I'm trying to say? But obviously,
I never thought about
not all
that
families want autopsy.
Perspective, but yeah.
But if they do, then that's an option or whatever. And it's a very by yourself job. and I like being my own boss. You know what I'm trying to say? So if I can like work up to that, but my backup job is like a physical therapist.
Okay.
And it can either be with like sports medicine or like older people, you know what I'm trying to say. But I would much rather be a pathologist.
Interesting. So your experience in volunteering in the daycare here at the senior center, how do you think that has impacted your decision making moving forward, or what sort of experiences have you learned?
I feel like it helped me a lot like socially, because they're so much easier to talk to than the normal human, because when you first interact with somebody, I feel like they like judge you by what you look like or like anything or like how you come off, but sometimes they don't even remember how you came off in the first impression. So you can make as many impressions as you want to, and I feel like, well, you know, we had a name tag to like remember, but I feel like it helped me a lot socially, because I seem like I'm not shy, but I really am. But I just have like a louder voice, and I feel like it helped me like, because we like serve them food and all of that.
Yes.
So I feel like I could definitely like be, as a starter job in like college, be like a waitress.
Oh.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little story when you were serving food? Do you remember any particular day?
Yeah, so this one time they had like soup, and Rosemary was like, on the contract it says that we can't serve hot soup, but since we did such a good job and we like never spilled anything before that, they let us serve hot soup. And we actually did a really good job. We didn't spill it at all, so that was really good.
Good.
Yeah.
Very nice. Yeah, so you know, we're fortunate enough that we have a grant. This is our second year through the Rhode Island Department of Health, which we you know, thank publicly here through this video. We have a grant that is helping us do community outreach and teach people about Alzheimer's and dementia. You know, how to you know, see when your loved one is having the first stages of what they call MCI, which is the first phase of dementia, because dementia is a, let's say, life's course disease, which means that when you start getting it, you can't get rid of it. You're going to eventually progress into it and, you know, die with it, or it'll kill you eventually. So let's say if you get it when you're 65, most likely if you make it all the way to 85, you're going to, you know, have the final stages at 85 where you're not even going to remember who you are when you see yourself in the mirror, which is pretty sad, you know. So the folks that you were dealing with were probably in stage 2 or 3 of the disease. And like you said, a lot of them still had a lot of their personality qualities. They remember very clearly, very vividly their lives in the past, you know, because, and you're right, you know, they tell you the same story over and over and over, which is kind of nice, because then you really know the story, you know what I mean? So it's kind of good in that sense. But I don't know, just anything anyone wants to add that I haven't asked right now, you know, in regards to your experience here at Senior Services? Like, how did you even get here? How about that? Scarlett.
Well, I drive by this place all the time, and my mom, like, was always like, oh, if grandma ever gets dementia, like, she's just gonna go here because I know this place is good.
Oh.
And then, like, I needed hours for my thing, and my grandma was like, oh, why don't you go see if they can have hours down there? I'm like, oh, that'd actually be kind of fun, rather than just, like, moving a bunch of stuff for, like, some, like, random, you know.
Well, let's hope your grandma doesn't get it.
I know, but it'd be, like, the first place.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
How about you?
Well, I've been looking for one for a couple months now, and I asked my mom for help, and immediately she found this place. So I was like, I'll see how it is, and I really enjoyed it, so I came back. Beautiful. And I have 17 hours here now.
Oh, very nice, and growing.
Yeah.
So continuing the theme of moms, my mom actually works here.
Yes.
She's the physical therapist assistant, so the PTA.
Really good too.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I'll tell her. So she does PT with the clients. So when I was telling her, oh, I would like to have some volunteering hours to be able to get that experience in the medical field and be able to have that on my PA resume, she was like, you should come down and come to the Senior Day Center. And I was like, you know what, that sounds great. So I did over 200 hours, and it was a great time.
Beautiful, beautiful. Well, thank you very much for taking the time to come today. You know, this is a lovely experience. And to all you folks, you already know the drill here. 55 plus, we upload our episodes to our YouTube channel. We also upload them to our Facebook. So like us on Facebook, Cranston Enrichment Center, CDA Cranston Department of Senior Services. Until the next episode, bye-bye. This is David Carroll, Assistant Director.